Hello, welcome back to another Tour Divide daily update, and this is day 3, so let's get over to track leaders and have a little look, see what's been going on. Now, just have to apologise in advance because I'm on the road today, so there might be a bit of background noise, and obviously I'm not in my office, so yeah, apologies for that. But let's have a look on the tracker and see what's going on. I guess the first thing to point out is that the record dots have now been added to the track leaders tracking, which is really good, gives us some reference to how everyone's going. So it's good to see they've got Robin's dot on there. So as you remember last year, Robin's time was pretty much the fastest down the divide, but because there was some fire diversions around the Gila in New Mexico, that was not counted as an official time. And as you can see, Victor is currently pretty much on pace with Robin. We'll dig into that a little bit more in a second. We've also got Justyna Slivaka's, this is the official Tour Divide record, set in 2024. So this is when Justyna's won. If you listen to the podcast we did on ULTRASCAPE a few days ago, or earlier in the week, you can hear more details about Justyna and his record. So that was set on the Grand Depart in 2024. Also really good to see, I guess, the historical dot of Mike Hall, sort of in memory of Mike. This is the 2016 record that was being chased for so many years. I think it was 8 years without it being beaten. So that was the one that Justyna finally broke a couple of years back, and yeah, so it's just good to see Mike still on the map, and nice to remember Mike. And then we've also got a couple of records here. So we've got the overall women's record, so Austin Killips. This was set as an ITU. I can't remember what, individual time trial, so ITT. I can't remember exactly when it was set, but it was set in August, so outside of the race. We've got Leo's historic record as well, and then Megan Hackman's. This is the record for the Grand Depart. So yeah, I guess that puts all the records on the map, and it's good to see that Megan is in actual fact pretty much en route with the women's record. I'm certain she'll be aiming for the overall record. So she's a little bit behind her pace. I think it's 2024 she first set the Grand Depart FKT, but she's pretty much level with the record at the moment, so it's a good start. And yeah, well, she's got a pretty dominating lead on the women's category at the moment. So she is in looks like she's in Ovando, so outside, or is it Lincoln? No, just outside Lincoln. So she's outside of Lincoln at the moment, kind of a fairly good place to stay. Whether she's camping or whether she's actually staying in one of the motels there, I'm not quite sure yet. And then she's got a pretty big lead over Karen Pocock in second. It's like Karen's still going. Last ping was 22 minutes ago. She's in the wilds there, so she'll be camping tonight or carrying on riding, depending on where she is. But yeah, a bit of wilderness there. Not kind of the best place to camp, I wouldn't have thought. Torren Lackman is in third, and then Alyssa Secreto is in fourth in the women's. And yeah, so there's a kind of a bit of a fight for the second place in the women's race at the moment. But yeah, so I'd say that's a pretty dominant lead from Megan at the moment. Basically, she's got Richmond Peak, and there's another big climb here. I can't remember the name of that pass off the top of my head at this second. But yeah, two big climbs and some hard terrain in between Megan and the sort of the chasing pack in the women's race. Let's head back to the men. So as I said, Victor is currently in Butte, so that was a big push, and he's level with Robin's dot. Now I can't remember exactly where Robin stayed last year. I seem to remember. I think he did get to Butte. So basically they're level. So at the moment there could be an hour or so deviation between them. Just depends on the times they got up. I did wonder if Victor would lose a little bit of time going over Lava Mountain, given his gravel bike setup. And Robin, obviously, he used to be racing World Cups. Robin, when he was like under 23 and junior. So he's got really good mountain bike skills. I did wonder if we might see a bit of deviation in the time gap there, but it still looks like they're on the same. So yeah, at the moment Victor is really motoring, really motoring. I did wonder if he might sort of slow down after a couple of days, but yes, he's doing a fantastic job. So we're 2 days, 17 hours into the race at the moment. Still a very long way to go, but yeah, Victor he's looking solid at the moment. So they're through Overlove Mountain, and the next few days, I dig into that on Rive GPS presently, but it's going to be fairly fast rolling. There's Fleecer Ridge, but yeah, Victor's like 65 kilos, so the climbs really do suit him. There's been some hard climbing on the lead up into Butte, so I suggest that he's probably had a bit of an advantage, but he's also got that really aero setup too. So even when it's faster rolling, he seems to be gaining time. And we'll check out the race flow in a second and dig into small details there. So just behind Michael's record and historical record and Justinas' current Grand Depart FKT, we've got a chase group forming. Now we heard from Alex yesterday. And he was just taking a bit of time to get going. But it looks like he's in his pace now. Alex is really world class, really strong. Actually was up with Victor before Victor ended up scratching at Unbound XL. Alex finished third overall. So I would expect a really strong ride from Alex, as well as Angus and Laurenceton Down. We know about him. David Chan, he was top 10 in the Tour Divide, in the Transcontinental race last year. So yeah, it looks like we're getting a bit of the shape of the race developing now. Normally it takes 2 to 3 days. Once we're out of Montana, we kind of see the groups of riders, and then there's kind of basically lots of smaller races within the race. Doesn't look like they're closing in on Victor at all. It's a fairly solid gap, and Victor's kind of he's got the gap. I mean, when Sofian Sahili used to race, I'm sure many of those followers of the Tour Divide will know that name. He used to go out hard, get a big gap, and then essentially, even if you slow down, as long as you're going the same speed as the guys behind, they're not going to close it. So that seems like Victor's managed to do that. However, I'm pretty certain he'll be chasing the time of Robin and trying to make that an official record. It is a Tour Divide though, anything can happen. So we'll see how that one works out. A little bit behind, we've got so basically those guys are in Helena, which always used to be like the go-to point at this stage of the race. That's kind of where Mike slept when he did the record. So they're in Helena sleeping now. There's plenty of hotels. I've stayed there myself. Good place to stop. So we'll see them going pretty soon. It's currently just about 1 a.m, so I imagine they'll be getting a couple more hours sleep. And then we've got the next two riders, so Xavier and Miku. Xavier looks like he probably went out quite hard and has slowed down a little. And Miku, Finnish rider, don't know much about him, but yeah, seems to be going pretty consistently at the moment. And then that takes us back to Lincoln there, where Megan and a couple of other riders are. So yeah, that's a quick overview at the moment of the kind of front of the race. Before I go any further, I just do need to thank the sponsors. So of course, Redshift. You know about them. I've talked about them the last couple of days. Loads of really cool products. I won't go into too much product detail today because I'm a bit more limited on time. But yeah, they've got loads of really good stuff. The shock stop suspension seat post. If you've seen any of my bike checks over my channel, you'll see there a feature on my hardtail. The shock stop suspension stems. They're mostly my gravel bikes. All the little pedal adapters and things. Again, I showed them a couple of days ago. So yeah, have a little check out of the Redshift website, have a browse, have a look at their components, and I've got a little discount code as well, so I'll pop that up on the screen. Big thank you to Redshift for helping me do what I do. And Enduro bearings, I talked about bump brackets yesterday. There's all sorts there. I guess the main thing is bearings, so you can buy individual bearings. So a lot of the wheels I run are upgraded with bearings. I tend to run these XD15 ceramic hybrid bearings. So one of the unique things about the XD15 is they actually use it's nitrogen infused steel, which is slightly harder than the basic or tougher, higher grade than the basic or a lot of basic bearings used. So it means they can basically make bigger grooves in the race and therefore use bigger ball bearings, and that obviously gives them slightly less rolling resistance, but more importantly means that they're a bit more durable. And these XD15 bearings, I know it sounds weird, but they get faster the more you use them. They really bed in. There's a couple of really good reports actually, I think, on the Enduro Bearings homepage. They've got this. Oh, here you go. If you're into bearings and the geeky stuff, have a read of this report. Basically, the long shot is that they're not going to be the fastest bearings out of the box, but over time they're faster. So on a long event like the Tour Divide, they should be a bit smoother over time. So yeah, have a dig into that. Again, big thank you to Enduro Bearings for their support of this. So we'll come on to that. Well, actually, seeing as it's clicked up onto Victor's Instagram story, this looks like it's Lava Mountain, and you can see Victor's not impressed. But yeah, it looks like a lot of windfall. So I guess there's been some storms in the area, and you can see countless trees over. So that's going to take some kind of climbing over, and so I suspect that might have slowed Victor a little bit. We'll go over to Riber GPS now, and we'll just dig into where that is. Now I suspect that is Lava Mountain, which is this section between Helena, which is where kind of our chase pack is currently, and Basin here. So if we use the fantastic, hopefully my internet's quick enough. I'm in a gas station or a service station at the moment, so internet's not the fastest. If we go onto the fantastic community layer that's now on Riber GPS, this gives you a bit of an idea. So this is the lower section of the climb on Lava Mountain, so it's pretty easy, quite a nice climb. But then you get into the woods at the top, and you can see here it's good enough, it's easy enough when it's dry. It gets into a really rough 4x4 track, but even now you can see logs down and stuff. But if it rains, it gets pretty tricky up there. So that's probably one of the harder off-road sections on the Tour Divide. I mean, it's not like you're going to be faster on a mountain bike, but it's not like full-on technical mountain biking necessarily. It's just a really rough double track, but the rain and the mud can make it tricky. And I know the year that Justinas Leveka set that divide record, or the Grand Depart record, it was particularly wet and snowy up there, and it can really slow things down. So that is what Victor would have done. It looks like he did it yesterday in the daylight, which will make life easier. I guess the guys leaving Helena are going to be doing so quite early in the morning, so they might have it in the dark, which might make life a little bit trickier. And then there's the sort of climb up and over. It's relatively straightforward into Butte, and so that's where Victor currently is staying. Butte's one of the bigger towns on the divide, he'll be able to get a really good resupply. He'll need to get a good resupply, and I guess he'll be aiming for Lima, possibly further tonight. So the next thing is significant challenge will be Fleecer Ridge. I'll see if I can find a photo of that. This looks like Fleecer Ridge potentially, or the climb up to Fleecer Ridge. Basically it's a long steep drop down, probably one of the steepest drops. If you're a really good mountain biker, you can ride it. I suggest it might be tricky or harder for Victor on his drop bars, just because drop bars really chuck you over the front of the bike. But we'll see. He's been pretty capable so far. I did have my doubts a little bit on whether he was that experienced off-road, but so far it's definitely proving that he's more than capable. So this is the drop down Fleecer Ridge. Doesn't look like much, but photos never really give you the full extent of the steepness. I guess you can see a little bit there how steep it is. So not overly technical, just a case of hanging off the back of the saddle and hoping for the best. I remember riding down there in 2022. Well, I didn't ride all the way down. I bottled it halfway, but I started at the top with Manu Gatrus, who finished second that year, and he was a really good rider. He absolutely smashed it. And I just remember getting to the bottom and seeing a massive roost where he'd just gone sideways around the corner and carried the speed. So that is the descent into Wise River, and then you're on the road. Victor's going to be fast here. He's got that sort of aero set up, as you've seen. You know, he's got the aero bladder in his skin suit. He's got bottles down the front, super fast. And then is it Medicine Hut Pass or Bannock Road? Again, if it's wet, that can be peanut butter central. But if it's dry, Victor's going to be fast. Yeah, then up over the climb and drop down through this sort of wilderness area, and then drop down onto the highway, or the road parallel to the highway, to Lima, which is going to be the next significant resupply. I mean, Victor might get a little bit at Wise River, but there's a better gas station at Lima. So yeah, so that's probably Victor's day. I imagine he's probably going to push a little bit further as well. Island Park tended to be somewhere where people have stayed. I think Robin stayed up there, pretty expensive as well. So yeah, hopefully Victor's got the Factor team credit card out. But yeah, so I'd imagine that is going to be Victor's day coming up. So yeah, so that is Ride with GPS and the route. So yeah, I've got a 25% discount for premium as well, so I'll put a link up there if anyone's interested. And yeah, so one last thing, Lawrence Tendam, Ovando, there was the classic, I think it's like the fishing shop there. You can see let's go back to that one again. You can see Lawrence on the webcam. So this is one of the quirks of the Tour Divide. So that's Lawrence going through Ovando. And then I just thought I'd highlight this Tour Divide 2026 account, basically sharing loads of really good reels and stories and stuff. And yeah, so that looks like Richmond Peak. Looks like there's some snow up there. Well, there is some snow. That's the later part of Richmond Peak as well. So it looks like there's only drifts up there. Pretty sure I've been in that saloon before on my Divide journeys at Xavier. So yeah, if you want loads of really good stories and stuff, more than I can probably share on these updates, check out Tour Divide 2026, a really good account on Instagram. So yeah, so that's me for today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back to normality tomorrow with a normal length update, and yeah, hopefully a bit more detail and a bit better sound. So in the meantime, thanks for watching. See you again tomorrow.